Looks like it's going to be a bloodbath in the markets today to open. And right now it's at 820, and it looks bad. In fact, let's take a look at the futures right now, see what we got here. Because it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't really follow the markets that much. I certainly don't look at it on a day-to-day basis, and you shouldn't either. The futures are down 1,000 points, dude. Dow futures drop 900. It was 900 points. Nasdaq loses 5% as global market rout picks up steam. Let's see what they're saying here. U.S. futures tumble as part of the global market sell-off centered around U.S. recession fears. The Nikkei, holy crap, the Nikkei fell 12%. Its worst day since the 1987 Black Monday crash. Nuts. I just saw that South Korea halted trading. S&P down futures are down 3.9. Woo! Fears of a U.S. recession were the main culprit for global market meltdown because of a disappointing jobs report. Investors concerned the Federal Reserve is behind, and now they're behind in cutting interest rates. So before they were behind in raising rates, and now they're behind in cutting interest rates. Nvidia's tumbled 9% Monday so far after going to the session hour, down more than 23% off its recent high. Apple created more than 8% after Warren Buffett decided to cut a stake in the phone maker. Other losers, Tesla down 7%. In Asia, Japan stocks confirmed a bear market. That's crazy. Other global markets are also severely impacted. Let's take a look at U.S. Treasuries. U.S. Treasuries tumbled as recession fears and investors flooded into bonds for a global safe haven. What? I thought everyone was getting rid of bonds. I thought we hated U.S. bonds because they're so heavy in debt. The benchmark 10 years down was down to 3.76. Down 50 basis points from where it was just a week ago. The lowest near, and that's before today. Bitcoin is down to 52,000. Dude, it's crazy out there. It's kind of, look, it's painful, says some guy. Yeah. I think there's a lot being absorbed that happened over the weekend before Berkshire cut an Apple. You had the Japan sell-off, you have the yen spike, and then the end of that carrot, you have a lot of bad news getting priced in. We probably hit oversold at some point, some chick said, on NASDAQ to capture the third straight weekend losses. All right, so the point being is, do they give us the 10-year on it? What's the updated 10-year right now? Actually, let me see right here. Hold on just a second, amigos. Yeah, Bitcoin's down 10,000. 10,000. Bitcoin is so stupid, dude. I mean, look, if you own it and you invest in it, more power to you, man. I got no qualm with that. 10 years, yeah, so the 10-year, the market hasn't opened yet, so the 10-year is still at 3.79. I wonder if it's going to go down to 3.4 or something like that. That's the yield. So when the yield drops like a brick in water, that means the prices are going way up. I bet my EDV is going to be crushing today. Let's see. I don't know if they have futures on EDV. That's my long-term government bonds. I mean, but look, it took it on the chin. It was inevitable for that to happen. It's amazing to me, a global sell-off because our unemployment numbers went to like 4.3. When I was studying economics, full employment was 5%. Full employment was 5%. And now we have 4.3 and everyone's freaking out. And I'm not saying I trust the numbers because we know that we have a lot of part-time works that goes into the employment numbers. But at the end of the, and look, my man just emailed me yesterday. He's having a hard time. He got laid off, having a hard time finding work. Thankfully, he's got no debt other than his mortgage. Now, it's still debt. Don't get me wrong. I get it. You know, he doesn't have a credit card debt. He doesn't have any car loans. I get it. But he's got no debt except for his mortgage. But still, that's a better debt to have than credit cards and all this other stuff. But be it as it may, he can't find work. You know, he's a 60-year-old white guy who wants. You know, HR managers hate 60-year-old white guys making six figures, and frankly, they hate 60-year-old black guys making six figures too. Let's be real. They don't like older people. But if you're white, you're the worst. If you're not trans and you're not gay and you're white. You have family and children, you're literally the lowest on the totem pole. And that's not whining. That's just a fact. And everybody knows it's a fact. Come on. So he's going to have a hard time finding work. Now, if you have a skill set that is high demand, you can fix boilers or you know the old software, or you're an HVAC, industrial HVAC guy. If you know the old software, because I do have some white guys who know the old legacy, what they call it, legacy software that the new kids don't know, and there's high demand. So it depends on what your line of work is. Even if you're white, even if you didn't get the jab, they're like, please, we need somebody. But if you're in just a kind of normal day-to-day gig, like most of us have been in, and you're making decent money, or older, and if you happen to be it's just if you're older and making money, you don't have to be white, just older making money. Hell, I got ladies who are getting laid off in IT because they're farming those jobs out to Poland, India, and Mexico and whatnot. This is happening all over the place. It's nuts. Thanks, globalism. Anyway, but this is what happens when globalism captures the world, man. It's like everyone's looking to cut prices and maximize profits, and the way they do that is I hate to say it, but if they say my profit center for Joe is $80, and I can get rid of Joe and get 3 Guatemalans, and my profit center for each Guatemalan is $33, and I'm met ahead, even if each one is not as profitable as Joe was. But for 3 for the price of Joe, I'm ahead. Now, what these idiots don't understand is a lot of times those 3 Guatemalans, their profit center is $15 per person. Now, I'm just picking on Guatemalans. It could be Indians, it could be Polish people. I don't care. So that's you're getting 45 per full-time employee FTE. Then where Joe, you're getting 80, even though Joe cost more, but the net to you, Joe is much more valuable. Man, idiots don't understand that. But anyway, the point being is, but there is still jobs out there, and I'm for my man. I know for a lot of you guys, there might not be jobs in your line of work. I get it, and hopefully you got no debt like my man Joe. It's not Joe, but hopefully, other than a mortgage, and he can get by. You know what I'm saying? He's got cash, he's got no debt, and he's going to downsize his house. And there are still people working. Right? Even remember during the epitome of the Great Depression, under FDR, by the way, 25% unemployment. No one ever remember. People said, just reading this book right here, when FDR got us out of the Great Depression. I said, no, he didn't. He expanded the Great Depression. We never had 25% under Hoover. It was FDR, we had 25% unemployment. But even then, we still had 75% employment, 75% of people still working. The problem was when unemployment goes up that much is you have less, as an employee, you got less negotiation, because people say, hey, if you don't want, we got another guy to take your place. And that's a challenge right there when when unemployment kicks in. This is one of my pet peeves about people griping about the United States as it is today. Do they not remember what it was like in the 70s and 80s? Do they not remember people having a hard time finding any job? Any job. Any job. I'm not just talking about IT or freaking being a cop or a fireman. I mean, you couldn't find jobs. No, I'm talking about just any job. Jobs, I mean, jobs are few and far between back then, dude. You know what I'm saying? Few and far between. And you certainly weren't going to just go and say, I want to go so I can, they were hard to find. They were hard to find. And that's just a fact. And you certainly didn't have negotiating power, which is why some of the reasons why the unions just got killed, because the negotiating power is lost. Because the company says, you want to unionize? See ya, we're out of here. And, be it that's either good or bad, it doesn't matter. That is what happened. Anyway, the point being is just be prepared. That's why you always have to have cash. Oh, but cash is trash. And I've been saying for years, this is why bonds look good, because when the interest rates go down, and the interest rates are going down, not because the Fed lowered them. The Fed hasn't lowered them. They're going down because of demand. No one wants U.S. debt. It's so freaking stupid. People always want U.S. debt, especially when market chaos like we're going through right now. This whole thing has got to be nipped in the bud once and for all. In times of volatility, everything falls. Everything falls, except the one thing that doesn't fall, which is U.S. government debt. But 2022, it fell. Yeah, 2022, it went from 0.25 on the Fed funds rate to 5.25. Never seen that before. Never seen that before. And that's why it fell. It had nothing to do with people, I got to sell my bonds because the market's falling apart. No, I mean, it had to do because the Fed was raising rates. Anyway, so what you do is you look out the window. You say, nothing I can do about it. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts.